Good day, everyone. This is Pilot Niels, and welcome to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at lasers and LOTRO, and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Sanswinda
Hello.
and Krister.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Let's head into this week's news, where we had an update to the game. This is update 35.1, which was released on April 19th, 2023. And the big note for this time is happy 16th anniversary. That's right. Happy 16 years for Lord of the Rings Online. The anniversary event returns at 10 a.m. Eastern on Thursday, April 20th, which means it's already live as of this recording. And the event continues until 3 a.m. Eastern on Thursday, May 15th. This year's event features new rewards, including new rewards in both the Anniversary Barter and Festivity Anniversary Barter, and cosmetic outfits of Illumination Forge stage, new goats, housing items, and more. And of course, if you make sure you log into the game starting on 10 a.m. on April 20th to get your annual anniversary gift, the Free Peoples of Middle-earth will receive their 16-year gift box an incandescent lightning fireworks, 16-year portrait frame, and the title Illuminator. But of course, that is for anyone who received the 15th anniversary gift last year. If you received an earlier one because you haven't been in the game as long, then you'll get the next one after that. So I got the 15th this year. Krister, you got the 16th, I guess?
That's right. I like to humble brag by changing my frame, and then I don't have to say anything to anybody. But those in the know. Yeah, so I got my new frame, and then the armor was quite shiny, so I made a new outfit, of course. My only motivation.
And Sans?
I got a box.
You got a box?
I didn't look at what year it said, but it says it has a black steel key and something else in it.
All right. Now, if you're a monster player, you also receive a 16-year gift box. So this one contains a violet explosion fireworks, 16-year portrait frame, plus 5% attack damage, and 5 potions. Plus 5% attack potions, you get 5 of those. And the title Extinguisher to counter the Illuminator of the Free People. And any player who receives the 15-year gift box last year will receive the 16-year gift box on every character they log into, in addition to the associated title. The gift will be granted permanently to your account as long as you log into at least one character starting now until 3 a.m. on April 1st on 2024. So you've got a year to log in.
So much pressure.
Yes. They also have in here Guathros, the Witch King Citadel, which they thought was going to be ready, that they will be able to open up next week, but apparently something went wrong because they canceled the opening of the raid next week. So I presume that there is going to be a update to fix whatever's wrong with the raid, since whatever huge disaster happened that has them completely pulling the raid, and find out what they're. And in fact, they also pulled this week's planned Bulwer one because they were planning to have Bulwer test tier 3 of the raid, but they pulled that because I presume that if they decided if tiers 1 and 2 weren't ready, they couldn't start testing tier 3. So we may have a Bulwer build next week where we are going to be testing the raid again in order to fix whatever is wrong.
Yeah,
so
I'm curious, based on how awful it was, I wonder what happened.
It was so bad that they pulled the plug on it before they even opened it. And also, the Return to Cara Doom instances, Sathlar, Sarkotarika, are now available up to Tier 5. And LOTRO is celebrating the uniqueness of every player. Our latest update celebrates individuality with additional character customization options for the race of man that let players express themselves in new ways. We want to make as many players feel represented in the game as possible, and we are introducing new character creation options for your face, hair, and body. We know there is more work to do and a wider variety of character creation options, and we will be following this up in the future. Here are some things to know. Your existing characters remain mostly unchanged, although we have updated some textures to improve their look. There are now more shared options between genders, including hair and beard styles where applicable, and the body proportion range has been increased, and the new options are also available at the barber for access to existing characters. Yes, and in fact, I went to the barber in order to redo the hair for my roomkeeper.
I added some stubble.
You added some stubble.
Yeah, now I've got a goatee with some stubble.
Let's then look at what we did with classes. Bjornings. Mark of Grimbjorn no longer requires facing your target and now has a cooldown of 3 seconds. I don't know what the cooldown was before, so I don't know if that's an increase or a decrease. And Mark of Bjorn cooldown reduced to 3 seconds. As for brawlers now can barter for jewelry at Dol Amroth big battle vendors in addition to Minas Tirith vendors. And fixed an issue where some brawler jewelry was restricted to the Bjorning class instead of brawlers.
That was a good fix.
Yeah. Now let's see what they did to the captains. Healing from the Standard of Honor is now correctly improved by the Relentless Optimism trait. Courage's Convocation no longer prevents words of courage from turning into Courageous Heart while Stands Alone is active. Stacks of At the Fort no longer suggest that they affect your outgoing healing. Blade Brother and Standalone now state that they will prevent the other from being used while active, and captains should now have only one version of Valiant Strike.
I wonder what the other version was. Was it like extra spicy?
Oh wait, did you notice anything good or bad relating to these?
Not really. No. I feel like we're so distracted by trying to figure out our tactics in that 6-man that everything felt like it was smooth. The main thing for me is aggro feels a little bit more squirrely, but it's not too bad.
All right. Now let's see about the minstrels. Cord of Salvation is once again an immediate skill.
I wonder if that was feedback or
yeah, I can imagine.
A bug.
It must be some sort of, I don't know if it was feedback from a bug or feedback from a change that they made. Is that okay, gotcha. Toggled Melody Echoes of Battle skill cooldown reduced. Cooldown's reduced to 2 seconds. And the Call of Greatness tooltip once again refers to the correct captain skills. Right. And improved Story of Courage no longer requires facing your target. And for the Warden, the Gambit healing bonus from specializing in determination now correctly affects healing from conviction. Oh, that would be really nice. The Fist Gambit, the damage and critical chance tracery, now correctly improves the dot from resounding challenge. The trait No Respite for the Wicked no longer refers to the offensive strike gambit line. The max target and AoE size of deflection was reversed for its melee and ranged variants. This melee version is now correctly centered on yourself, while the ranged version has a smaller AoE centered on your target. Yeah, that could be a bit of a problem. And the description of the trait on the offense has been corrected and no longer suggests that the offensive strike has a morale tap. Desperate Combat now activates Desperate Spear, Shield, Fist for 90 seconds rather than 30, so you can spend charges until all of them are consumed or your skill's cooldown has expired. The blue line trait Never Surrender now displays the correct cooldown reduction. Alright, even if it is currently a useless skill because of how they completely nerfed it into oblivion, but that's another matter. And damage increased slightly for direct damage gambits, the boot, Wall of Steel, and offensive strike, and Boar's Rush. And several class traceries were giving the incorrect secondary stat on legendary quality versions. These now give the appropriate secondary stats matching their lower quality counterparts. And as for items, the Cardoom Standard of Victory and Cardoom Standard of Hope have had their names swapped on all rarities to reflect the roles each standard stats are better associated with. Did you even notice this, Krister?
Not even a little.
Fix a typo in the jewelry that appears in the 3-person instance of Cardoom. Adventurers and Travelers Steelbound loot boxes contain new Alchemist cosmetic items, including avatar cosmetics, housing items, a steed, and matching war steed appearances. These items are also available on Myrtle Mint for Figments of Splendor. Adventurers and Travelers Steelbound loot boxes also now contain a Rust Corgi cosmetic pet. Oh, poor Corgi. Adventurers Steelbound loot boxes now have a chance to drop Delving Adventurers Vivid Essence boxes. And newly acquired Adventurers loot box gear for level 140 characters is now scaled from 478 to 480. And some older avatar cosmetics and steeds have had been moved off of Myrtle Mint and onto the Curator. And the following shields have had their armor value updated to correctly reflect incomparable rarity. The Superior Broad Targe of Sargroth in the Lair of Vermin, the Superior Stout Targe of Sargroth in the Lair of Vermin, all these are Lair of Vermin actually, Superior Reinforced Aegis, the Superior Bright Aegis, the Superior Reinforced Targe, in other words, all the shields it looks like. And newly acquired Wayfarer shields of the Traveler's loot boxes will now have the appropriate amount of stat bonuses, which increase the stats to levels 10 to 40. Bjorning Champion and Guardian drops in the second boss of Sargroth have been corrected. Legendary bows for Bjorning Champion and Guardians added to treasure pools at Sargroth in Tier 4 and higher. Legendary bows?
That sounds confusing, because they can't really wield them, can they? I mean, maybe they meant like superior bows, or...
Okay, they mean gold bows, I guess.
But that sounds like they're like dropping legendary items that are useless. Which is
Yes.
kind of funny, and might be what like happened in practice, which would be even more funny. But the way that sounds like they're dropping legendary item bows, and none of those classes wield one.
Right. Yes. I would presume that they mean of the legendary tier of quality. And especially since they're talking about tier 4 and higher, where I would think that gold items will start dropping. Warden shields will now drop for wardens in Sakharoth at all tiers. All right, that'll be useful. Adventurers and travelers steel-bound loot boxes contain new alchemist cosmetic items, including avatar cosmetics, housing items, a steed, and matching war steed appearances. These items are also available by Myrtlement for Figments of Splendor. Adventurers and travelers steel-bound loot boxes also now contain a Rust Corgi cosmetic. Did I talk about corgis inside of
It's
cosmetics?
deja vu.
Yeah, it's
Deja vu.
yeah. And some older Avatar cosmetics and steeds have been moved off. Yeah, I think we got.
You have talked about this before. I'm freaking out now.
It's not
Okay.
your fault. It's in there twice, Pine.
It's in there twice.
It's in
Okay,
there
yes,
twice.
it's in there twice. I was wondering, am I going? Okay, Delvings completing Tier 11 or Tier 12 Delving quests in Cardline missions will now advance some Tier 11 and Tier 12 specific deeds. Ooh. The tooltip for the Delving Malice Lingering Fear has been corrected to reflect that it affects both outgoing and incoming healing. And the Delving Malice's Sauron's Touch 1 and 2 have had their offensive and defensive monster buffs reduced. As for monster play, a grammatical error has in the new Free People's tutorial of the Endmores has been fixed. Defeating Tyrant Burgos now properly advances the weekly objectives of the Entmore's weekly quest. The second tier of the weekly Free People's Entmore's quest now requires 21 Entmore's General's quest to complete. This is technically the same number as before, as the previous version of the weekly counts towards the completion of the second weekly quest. And Audacity now correctly multiplies damage by 0.55, reducing the incoming damage by 45% rather than by 55%. As for pets, Bear and Herald taunts no longer apply direct catch-up. I think we mentioned that last week, Krister.
Yeah, because didn't we have a bunch of mustard jokes following that or something?
Oh,
We
yeah,
did.
yeah.
We were quite curious about their threat mustard.
Yes. And we've been having some issues with pets breaking instance encounters if they're able to hold aggro on bosses. So until we have a more comprehensive fix ready, we will be reducing them to force taunt only.
Oh, I thought it was kind of cool the pets were able to, the heralds were able to hold their own, you know?
Oh.
I think that would make sense. You know, they're heroes in real life. They can fight. Well, okay, they lost, I guess. But...
Oh, well. And for quests and instances, return to Cardoon. Repeatable quests for Sahlor, Zargzar, and Sakharoth now properly require level 140 to be accepted. Players can return to the quest hub in Cardoon by leaving through the instance entrance. Sahlor, the Poison Gardens, Venom Twisted Reavers in the Alganium encounter are no longer eligible to become Scions. The quest has been adjusted so that it shows up in the Angmar Reborn category of the quest log. Repeatable quests have had their quest items adjusted so that they don't show up as highlighted in the landscape map. And fixed a bug where the boss and other monsters sometimes spawned in at level 1.
That would be really funny, actually. If the boss and other monsters were level 1 in your instance.
I certainly never saw that bug.
I think that would be like one of the most fun trips through there.
Whack, whack, whack.
I think that should be like a festival thing. Maybe like on April Fool's Day or something. Where like if you put in the special thing, all the boss and monsters will be level 1 and you get like some random funky title.
Oh well. Verisgar, the Vile Apothecary. The final boss on Tier 4 now drops the correct chest, and Bile Tanks are no longer eligible to become Scions. And as for Sakharoth, the Lair Vermin, class items received in the 6-player version of this instance have had their stats reworked to better fit class themes and roles. Also, goblins in the further adventures of Bilbo Baggins have become less experienced.
That's kind of weird. That's kind of like a Benjamin Buttons type of situation, isn't it?
And Throne of the Dread Terror class items now have a maximum level of 115. As for UI changes, the Show Avatar Update checkbox in Race of Men has been disabled. And that goes along with the Avatar updates that they were making for being able to show more things, is because right now it's always showing the latest version of it. They're no longer supporting the old original avatars. As for general changes, shadows on water now only affect the water debris layer, algae, sea foam, etc., and not the water itself. Ocean water in Belfalis and Peligir now correctly retain its green color in the dawnless day. We've backed out the monster mitigation changes as they were exacerbating the differences between DPS classes' armor penetration too much at higher levels. The health adjustments is changing from plus 25% down to 15%, so is less impactful on high-end instance difficulty as well. Crafting recipes for Gundabad traceries will now use the proper crit item for the recipe's profession. And there are a number of known issues here. The first one is that the raid doesn't work, I guess. And the known issues are some animations are not displaying correctly for human runekeepers. I am not sure what they're talking about since I've been playing a human runekeeper during the week. And minstrel instruments for human characters are not appearing consistently with skill use. Some minstrel animations are not displaying correctly. Some emotes are not animating correctly. The hobby horse animation is not functioning correctly for male humans.
I wonder what it looks like.
That terrifies me to think about that. What's
Yes.
going on with that?
And burglar and brawler crowd control removal skills are currently only working on roots and will not remove daze, stun, or knockdown effects. That's not good. And the face paints from Hobnanigans do not currently work on the race of man. Might be related to the Avatar updates or something.
Probably.
But it's not exactly like people are rushing to Hobnanigans in order to paint their face anyway, I suspect.
One day it's going to be as popular as Quidditch. I don't know when, but
All right. Let's go and also note that they are planning to make some updates to Infamy and Renown. As we draw closer to the next update, we wanted to put an early update to Infamy, Renown, and Commendations Earns, and how they will be adjusted. Currently, there is a modifier that increases the amount of Infamy, Renown, and Commendations earned for the maximum contributors to a kill. This can inflate the Infamy Renown value of a single kill versus by multiple players to a value of over twice of what it should be. We are adjusting this so that a kill, when contributed to by multiple players, properly computes that value and distributes the total Infamy Renown value to the target amongst all contributors. We are also planning to adjust a bonus modifier to gains when killing players on higher ranks. The higher the rank, the more value the monster player is worth in terms of Infamy Renown. These changes will be available for testing in the first Bulwer update for Update 36. Could you tell me what all that means?
It sounds like they're trying to make it so that you get the infamy. Well, I hope what it means is that everybody's going to get the infamy or renown value of the target instead of some complex computation. However, what it probably means is we don't know yet,
Yes.
but
One
we'll
person
be able to test it.
Yeah. Now, one person asked Ryan, are you allowed to elaborate on how points are currently calculated and what the proposed changes are in the math as in share the calculation? And the response to this was the calculations in the background are complex, but the bonuses that we are talking about are less so. These are modifiers that alter the total value of the infamy, renown, comms earned for kills where there are a number of contributors. In the current version, these contributions are 100, 50, 33, 25, 20, 15, and 10% where it caps. So 7 plus contributors are still getting 10% yield on a single kill. This will be adjusted to account for a full raid so that the tail follows the correct divisor. Okay, divisor all the way to the raid size.
In other words, you might get like basically nothing still from kills and raids. It's always confused me in PvP anyway. You're like, yes, if you manage to kill this guy, it'll take you like 10 of them to bring down one freep, but then you can all get one renown, one infamy. The balances have hopefully been working on that, but
Yeah, it seems like it's divided. It looks like the amount you get is going down to 5. It looks like you're cutting out a pie, but it looks like pieces of the pie are lost when you get below 5. Because
possible.
at the first, it looks like at 150, 33, and 25, they all say if you and 20, all those if you multiply by the number of contributors, the total is 100. But at 15, with 6 contributors, it's only 90, and then at 7 contributors, it's only 70. So it's,
Yeah.
I guess because there's just so many there that they're saying that it's less difficult or something like that. Whatever. I don't understand PvP well enough in order to discuss that. And that's it for our game news. So let's see what's on sale this week. Sans, what's on the market?
Well, this week, double bonus points are back through April 30th. You can get twice the bonus points in the LOTRO store. And you can find some special sales on select expansions in the LOTRO market. All the way through April 30th, you can get 25% off The Fate of Gundabad, 50% off The War of Three Peaks, 75% off Mordor, and 75% off Minas Morgul. There are also new Tracery Selection boxes available. You can find the Elrond's Tracery Collection level 140 in the LOTRO store. And you can go there and back again. Get 25% off Milestone Skills, Hurried Traveler and Returning Traveler, Advanced Riding Traits, and Rally Horns through the 27th. So if you just made a new character, it might be a good stop. And our weekly coupon is a free Skill and Slayer Deed Boost with the coupon code Skill and Slay Boost, now through April 27th.
Yeah, actually, my lower level lore master got a new milestone skill under this sale. Exactly. I need another milestone skill. When you start to get far away on that stuff, and you start bouncing back and forth between 2 areas a lot.
Having a second milestone, yeah, it can really help. And the Hurried Traveler and Returning Traveler can make a really big difference too, if you're going to be playing the character a lot.
Well, that particular character already had 5-minute cooldown, so...
Yeah, because with both of those you get 5-minute cooldowns on your skills, which is really handy.
Yes. And that's it for that. So let's head into our week in gaming. And Krister, what were you up to?
Well, of course, the anniversary came about, so I had to go check out everything and see the cosmetics and take a look at what shiny new things we've got. Got a cool new firework. And then, of course, got the frame. And Got some shiny new armor, so all in all, pretty fun. We had a nice relaxed night last night where we just went ahead and just ran T1 for the vermin. And, after plunging the depths, fighting Balrogs, fighting Sauron, fighting Saruman, just killing rats is just a really kind of a nice break from being a hero. So that was that was nice. And in ESO, I got some new cosmetics and so I've been playing around with that. And then, of course, I've just been venting. But what was really cool was on Wednesday, Rudd and I were just kind of grouping up and doing world bosses, and we ended up I can't remember where this world boss was, but we did this world boss that was one of the most complex, crazy, involved fights we've ever been in ESO. So it was a lot of fun that just kind of happened out of the blue. And then I've been tinkering with starships in Starship Evo. So that's been my week. Sans, what have you been up to?
Well, last weekend, Cinders discovered Dinkum in the Steam store. And so we got it and started farming adventures. And then we started an island together. And it's been kind of fun exploring and farming in, I guess, basically a version of Australia. So, yeah, that's been kind of cool.
All right, how would you compare this to Stardew Valley?
I think you guys would probably like it better. But it's like a cross between Stardew Valley and Animal Crossing. Which is kind of interesting. And it can also be played with up to 4 players. Which is pretty cool. And I logged on and got my anniversary reward, and I looked it up, and it was the year 7 reward. So I should have looked closer at that, because I would have done things differently when I logged in my work. I would have been dancing and stuff. But anyway, I logged onto my work, and I fought a training dummy. And it seemed really quiet on the moors. I tested the little sprint icon thing, and it's a little bit annoying and glowy, but it wasn't as big as a whole horse, so I did appreciate that it didn't look like I should be riding it instead of having it hovering over me. And I probably still won't use it though, because I'm a warg and I would prefer stealth. So
Right.
That was pretty much my week in gaming. How was your week, Pineleaf?
And I'll begin with my warden, who continued in my little delving series to see how I do doing delvings. With 2 particular missions I'm doing it, just dipping my toes in the delvings of there. So I got up to tier 5 and managed to survive that. I guess it means I'm going to be heading into tier 6 next week, so we'll see whether or not I get plastered in that. And my lore master was running quests within the angle. And finally, in ESO, I ran the new prologue that's associated with the upcoming expansion in there. So I managed to get all the way through that. And it's amazing how many world-ending crises come up in ESO.
It's always something.
It is always something. There is just someone somewhere who is just trying to destroy this. It's incredible that this world is going to exist through 2 more ages after the timeline of ESO.
Or is it? Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, you mean an alternate history? Oh, you thought you knew the world of what happens afterwards in Skyrim and Oblivion and all that. And that is my week in gaming. We currently have 13 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to join this illustrious raid of players and help support LOTRO players, you go to the nation's page where you support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money will be used for podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. If you would like to support us without joining Patreon, you can contact Drac at lotraplayers.com. Alas, we don't have any emails this week, but if you like since when you can send it to podcast@lotrplayers.com. And we have 2 shows each week on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. US Eastern Time via DDO Players News. Well, that's what we shoot for at least. And on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. US Eastern Time via LOTRO Players News. You can join us for our shows at lotrplayers.com/live. And that is all for tonight then. This is Pilot Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.